Hello, happy Flossmas Day 12. It's December 12th and it is time for my daily Flossmas video update. If you are new here, hi, thanks for stopping by. And if you are returning, thanks for coming back. Just a quick update today. This is my channel about cross stitch, crafty things. I am doing a daily video this month because I have a knitting advent calendar that I am opening with a knitting mystery knit along for a gnome by Imagine Landscapes. And then a cross stitch advent countdown mystery cross stitch pattern with a daily floss. So I opened my floss this morning. I'm going to put that video in here and I'll see you right back. Happy day 12. It's time to see my progress and what we have coming for us today with our Evertote holiday countdown. Here is my stitching through day 11. This Merry and Bright is the floss that we stitched with on day 11. Let's see if I can get this to focus. There we go. It's gorgeous. I love the variegation in it. So I'm excited to see what's next. Part of me thinks, hey, we should finish this band, but Caroline's talked about that today is a big day for looking at the directions, making sure you understand what you need to do, waiting to stitch until after her video comes out if we're not sure. So that makes me think maybe we're moving on. We'll see. So here's day 12. Sorry about hitting the camera. There we go. Okay. Here's the pattern. And, ooh, today we have shortbread. So this is a really, it's coming up yellower on my camera than it is in real life. It's almost like a light creamy taupe tan. It's not quite as yellow as the camera is showing. Let me see if I adjust the contrast a little bit or the lighting a little bit. That's still not right. It's a pinker. It's like got a little bit more like tan pink khaki in it than the yellow gold that is showing. Yeah, even there, the lighting just isn't right today. Sorry about that. It's pretty. I like it. It'll be interesting to see how it shows up on the Panettone. Okay, so interesting. We are going to put the shortbread along the outside of this inner pink color here on the band. And then we are moving. There's a little bit of stitching. So the gray, there's a shaded area that shows the stitching from the first band up here on the side. Hope so you couldn't see that. That shows up here. And then the rest of the pattern comes along. So that makes sense to me. So it says above is the bottom of the left set of borders, below is the top of the right set. The grayed out area is the part you've already stitched of the left set of borders. That makes a lot of sense. On my YouTube channel, Modern Folk Embroidery, I will be talking today about some of my favorite artists and styles that I find most inspiring. So that's fun. I'm excited to watch Jacob's video today. So yeah, it almost looks like there's like, I mean, they kind of look like snowflakes at this point, but they're more of these like diamond shapes, probably similar to the poinsettia shape. Actually, but they're kind of spaced on the band, kind of in and out. And it's a little, counting will be interesting because they're pretty far spaced out. They're kind of in a random, not random, there's definitely a pattern, but they're, like I said, they're spaced, sorry, hit the camera again. They're pretty spaced out, so yeah, counting will be fun. And we have the triangle that signifies the middle of our stitching, and so it's the middle of our stitching is just 2 stitches over here. Yeah, but there's like not, these bands have been really helpful for me with counting, or at least the solid bands help me, even if they don't help with counting, it's kind of helped me confirm as a reference point that I'm both like stitching the right 2 strands and I'm not like off by a half a stitch, and also to verify that I've counted over the right amount when I've been working on spacing. Like with here, this is a pretty big gap, so I counted it out with the threads, and then I set my needle in, and then I went back up and I counted how many squares are between using that band. And so like I said, that's been really helpful, and we're not going to have that today, but if I'd be interested to see what tomorrow's looks like too. I probably would there's not a ton of stitching here. I probably would have to have time to get it done today, but this might be one where, depending on what's coming, I might wait just to have more stitching to reference, if that makes sense, instead of doing one clue at a time. We'll see. It's really probably making more of the counting than I really need to. It's probably just fine. I'm just horrible at counting. And I usually make my mistakes early but realize them late, and then I end up pulling everything. I did not do any more present knitting. I went down the bunny trail of the stockings. I spent quite a bit of time trying to find the right font once I realized that it was going to be hard to find a stocking with a band that would be small enough for my name using the Modern Folk Embroidery Fruits of Plenty Sal alphabet. I started charting on WinStitch, and I didn't like how it looked. I played with a couple things. I almost gave up, and then I went back to just what my original plan was. And so I have my first band stitched, and I'm working on my second one. So what I did is I cut the band to the size that the stocking pattern that I'm using said I needed to ish, because they used a 3/8 inch seam. Clearly they're just sewers, not knitter or not quilters. And I am a die-hard 1/4 inch seam kind of girl, because I mostly sew for quilting. And so this is the whole band. You mark a seam allowance, 1/4 inch, and then you fold your project in half this way and in half this way, so that you get your this was not the one that I did the cutting on or the measuring on, but so that you get your fold here and your fold here, and then you measure the distance from the fold, because there's no seam allowance here. You're not going to lose any fabric. You measure from here to your seam allowance, divide by half and put a mark in. From your seam allowance here, because there will be seam here, to the fold, because there's no seam at the fold, divide it in half and mark a spot. I didn't map everyone's names out. The letters are not exactly the same distance, so you can't just like start in the middle of the letters. For this one I did, and I think it's pretty close. By the time I take away, if my thumb is the seam allowance, it's pretty well centered. With this one, the O and the N are pretty wide, and then the A is pretty wide. The J and the S are not. So my middle of the S, I actually moved it, I kind of started my S here instead of moving it to where that was centered in the middle, because I knew I'd need a little bit of extra room, because the O and the N are a little bit wider, if that makes sense. So instead of mapping it out, I just kind of took a really close guess, and I think when they're hanging, they'll be pretty good. So I've been enjoying this a lot. It's a super fast stitch. Again, this is 27 count Linda. I've never stitched on this before. I had like a whole half-yard cut that I had bought at the beginning of my stitching journey, because it was a good price for the amount that I got, and I just never found anything to do with it, because of course I got into the world of, you know, colored cross stitch and fabric and like all those kinds of things. So I'm using Falu Red. And I did cut enough pieces to also stitch our pet names in case I want to do those. It'll depend on what I find at the fabric store and how much time it takes to piece all of the stockings. They're definitely not my priority, but they're cut so that potentially I could work on them whenever I get time. They don't have to be done this year. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm a little bit nervous about time this week and whether or not I'll have time to piece the stockings. We'll see, but the stitching went super fast. I probably did this one in an hour and a half, and then I got this done in like 20 minutes or so. So yeah, so once I found the center of one piece, I don't have them here with me, I laid all of these on top of each other. I laid one on top of the one that I had measured, and then I used my friction pen. These are the ones that are heat sensitive. I used my friction pen to mark a dot, like I put a pin through to make sure I was in the right spot, and then I marked a dot where the pin was once I had it in the right spot, so that it was it's not going to be 100% exact, but it's pretty close. And then I'll have some wiggle room when I'm stitching these up too, to make sure that I can play with the seam allowance a little bit to get them centered. So yeah, all right, it's time to go to work. I will see you guys back probably pretty quick this afternoon, just in case, to say hi, and just in case I have an update for the gnome knit along. So have a great day. So pretty fun update. I'm excited to get stitching. I don't know how much I'll get done tonight. We've got some stuff going on at home. So we'll try to get caught up. I got my Imagine Landscapes knit along clue later this morning. I am not sure what we're knitting today. Just really briefly, quickly looking at the pattern. I'm a little bit perplexed about what we could be knitting. So I will show you tomorrow, if I have a chance, what I come up with. So I'm not sure that I'll get it all done tonight, but I will try. And I get to open Clue 6. So the Loopy U had a pre-order for two unique colorways for the knit along, and then they do an advent box with 12 packages over the course of the 24-25 days that Sarah has clues. So every once in a while we get to open a package. Today we get to open day 6. So here we go. That's fun. All right, so it is a little retractable tape measure. It says Gnome Sweet Gnome with a Loopy U. So that's super cute. That'll be a fun addition to my knitting bag. I don't think that I try to have one in there. I don't think I currently have it. I think if I have a tape measure, it's like from one of those like cheap like knitting kit like tackle boxes that you can get on Amazon, and it's like one of the tape measures that's like folded in half with like a cardboard piece around it, and it's just hard to keep nice. So I like these retractable ones are handy because they don't get all hard to handle and all over the place because they are well contained. I don't have a ton of other updates. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. Thanks for stopping by. I was out last night visiting a friend. We do like a Sunday night BBC British drama type get together, and a house that I drove by has really upped their game this year, and they've got like the whole like you tune into the radio and it tells you what song they're playing on this like scrolling sign. It's really fancy, and then of course like all of the crazy lights that go along to the music. So I'm gonna put a quick video in of that I took last night as a special treat, and I will see you guys back tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye.